Hello and welcome to my channel. This video comes after the recent events that took place with Jeju Airlines crashing and claiming the lives of 179 people on board. Now, it's a little bit different than the other types of videos that I've posted on my newer YouTube channel, but I know there are a lot of people out there who already have a fear of flying to begin with. And certainly with this crash being all over the news and media, basically it's amplifying those fears. So although I'm not an aviation specialist and I'm not a psychologist, I am a person who takes the well-being and safety of my family very, very seriously. So I do a lot of research. And my family, if you've seen any of our other videos, we've been traveling full-time on the road and by air for, almost the last 4 years since 2021. So we actually take plane rides quite a bit. Okay, we take a lot of flights from here and there. And honestly speaking, both my husband and myself, we both have a fear of flying for a couple different reasons. So for my husband, you could see when we take off, especially for like right in the beginning. I mean, he's there kind of like praying that we take off and land safely. His fear is that the plane will actually crash. Okay. And I know there's other people who do have nervous feelings about flying. And while he has that fear, basically, I also have anxiety and fear every time I have to take a plane, but it's for a different reason. It's because I get anxiety and I had my first panic attack on an airplane in Mexico when I was very, very pregnant with my first child. And since then, just dealing with the claustrophobic feelings, and especially on an airplane, I mean, you're kind of in close quarters, tight with a lot of people. And I know for someone who's never had claustrophobia before or any sort of like panic attack, it seems like, well, it's just a plane. Like, what's so scary about that? But you know, that fear of doom, okay, that fear of death, it is mental, okay, but for the person it's happening to, it's very, very real. So since then, okay, so my child is 17 years old now. I've done a lot of research since then on how to deal with it. And to be honest with you, having knowledge, having education, and having information that you know you're gonna be okay, it's mental, and you're gonna get through it. It's just a temporary feeling that will come and go after a while. Basically, that was all the information that I need to be able to, I guess, deal with it. And certainly, I can share some of the strategies that I use that keeps me calm when I get in an airplane now. And I actually did a lot of research since this Jeju air crash story aired to provide to you guys and to also like myself that airplane flights are very, very safe. So before I get into that, I wanted to thank each and every one of you for subscribing on my past videos. This is a newer YouTube channel, and you know, YouTube algorithm's really funny. Basically, they like to see the viewers engage with comments, with the little like button and the share button. And basically, that's how I know, that's how YouTube knows that you are enjoying the video, that it is a good video, and then it pushes it out through their feed a little bit more and more. So if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button and sharing a little comment, it'll help push this video out to more people who might also very well have some fears of flying. Okay, so let's get into the video and I'll show you the statistics that I came up with. All right, so here is a chart that I put together based on the research that I found. And in the description, I'll go ahead and put the sources of information. Like I said, I am not an aviation specialist or someone who deals with statistics. So that's not my profession. That's not my career. So I wanted to provide the links in there so that you can go ahead and do further research on yourself. But here's the few things that I've found. So first off, let's put this into perspective. The probability of actually dying on an airplane crash is actually 1 in 11 million. And these statistics are based on the United States. Obviously, there are a few things like lightning strikes and airplane rides that can be extrapolated to other parts of the world. But for some of these other things, such as dying in a car accident or walking across the street, it's going to be different for the different regions of the world because in the United States, the whole system of moving around from one place to another is based on driving a car. But in a lot of parts of the world, a lot of people don't even own vehicles. Okay, they take great public transportation. Let's look at this chart. Okay, so if we've got an airplane crash here, there's going to be about like one death in 11 million. And the only thing that's safer above that is a lightning strike. And to be honest with you, I've heard on other studies that flying an airplane is actually safer than getting struck by lightning. But when I did the research, it said that lightning strikes is 1 in 15 million. And certainly when you go down the list of boat accidents, dying by a bicycle accident, walking across the street, and car accidents, basically, it's much, much higher. And if you look at the cause of death in an airplane crash versus a car crash, I mean, there's a stark difference. 1 in 107,000 versus 1 in 11 million. That just goes to show you that flying in an airplane is very, very safe. There's many, many flights all over the world every single day that goes very successfully. And of course, when there is a fatal crash like the one on Jeju Air, basically it's going to be plastered all over the news. But honestly speaking, if you think about the number of fatalities that happened with car accidents around the world, if there was something that in the media that was playing over and over again on all of the car accidents, I mean, basically we would not even have enough time to see it all in a day because there's so many. But even with these reassuring statistics, the fear of flying is real. But there definitely are ways and strategies, things that you can do to kind of relax yourself to get through that flight. So let's dive into them. So first of all, where to sit. So studies show that the safest place to sit is actually towards the back of the plane and near the exits. And the reason for that is, if you think about it, if there is a collision that's going to happening, the first thing that's going to hit that impact is going to be the nose of the plane. So if it's not a situation where the entire plane is going to blow up from the fuel tanks like Jeju Air did, basically, the impact is going to be towards the front, and anything behind that, okay, the farther and farther it is to the back, it's going to be a little bit safer. And the exits are going to be really important because you're going to be one of the first ones actually escaping the airplane. And a simple thing you can do to make sure you can get to those exit seats is wherever you're sitting, look at the exit to the front of you and to the back of you and count the rows of seats between you and that exit door. And the reason for that is because if it's smoky inside or if it's dark, you might not be able to see anything. And certainly there could be a chance that instead of like standing and walking out in broad daylight to through those exit doors, you might be like crawling on the floor if it's dark or for whatever reason. So if you can count those number of seats, okay, from you to the exits, that's going to put your mind at ease. And certainly I know when they go over all of the safety protocols, the flight attendants, I mean, sometimes you see a lot of people just like not even paying attention because we've heard it over and over and over again. But if you are a nervous flyer, the best thing you can do is to pay attention when they are going over those protocols, and you'll see little cards with the same information. Just go through the steps so that you know in case of an emergency, you know exactly what to do. Now, if a plane is going to have an accident, it's going to happen most of the time during takeoff and when it's trying to land. If you think about it, when it's trying to take off, the airplane is heavy, it's low to the ground, it's very slow. So, um, there's a little struggle there to get liftoff. And then during a landing time, it's coming down super fast. You're hoping that all of the gears are working. And if the plane is going to have problems, crashing, basically it's going to be during those two time periods. Now, the good news is modern airplanes, they are designed to be able to handle impact if there is an impact. Now let's talk about turbulence, which is probably the most common scenario in which someone is going to get really, really nervous when they're taking that flight. Turbulence is actually very, very normal. Turbulence happens when the plane encounters changes in air pressure, wind currents, or different layers of air. Think of it like driving over a bumpy road. Just because you drive over a bumpy road doesn't mean you're going to get into a car accident. It's just an annoyance at that time until the bump is over, and then you can go back to driving on a smooth surface. Basically, turbulence on an airplane is the same thing. It's scary when it's happening to the passengers, but for the flight crew, it's very, very normal. And they know that it's just a matter of time until they can smooth everything out. And then you can go back to walking around the airplane and doing what you need to do. And now that you have the information on the statistics of how safe it is to fly and that modern airplanes are designed to be safe and handle impact as well as turbulence, you might say to yourself, okay, that's great. But when I get on a plane, what happens if I feel my heart beating super fast, or if I get dizzy, if I have the feelings of anxiety running through my veins? And, in the worst case of it, if you go into a full panic attack, you literally feel like loom and doom is coming, and basically you're looking for an escape right out that front door. Okay, if you feel like bolting, just okay, you're past the stage of anxiety and you're going into a panic attack. So let's talk about some of the things that you can do to calm yourself and get through that flight and have the tools that you need to be able to continue to take flights in the future. So if you're the type of person where you already know that you are going to start feeling anxiety through your body and start getting hot as you're boarding the plane, one of the best things that you can do is to get one of these cooling towels. It comes in a tub like this. And basically what I do is right before I board the plane, I go into the women's restroom and wet it down and just kind of put it over my neck so that it feels nice and cool and it keeps me calm. Now, the air conditioner is not always on when you board an airplane, especially if you're in the Caribbean or Mexico, somewhere hot where the door is like fully open. They don't turn it on until all the doors are closed and it's ready to take off. So sometimes when it's really, really stuffy in there and I just need to calm myself down, basically I have this little thing, which is a personal fan. Actually, it's a fan, phone charger, flashlight all in one, but really what I got it for was if you need a little bit of air circulation before the airplane takes off. Basically, I've got this blowing on me, I've got the cooling towel on me, and when I have those things on, my husband knows that I'm having a little bit of trouble. And the easiest thing you can do, okay, as you're sitting down and just trying to calm your nerves is to do breathing exercises. And you've probably heard this many, many times, but there's actually a science behind that. And I'm not going to be here to tell you about that science because I'm not a medical doctor. Okay, I'm not a psychologist, but I've done a lot of research, and breathing slowly in, okay, for about 4 seconds, holding it for 4 seconds, and then slowly breathing out for another 4 seconds. If you just continue to do that, the body knows to go into a more relaxation state. So I always do my breathing exercises once I'm on the airplane. Distraction. So, a lot of specialists will say that if you can just distract your mind, because this is all happening in your mind, okay? Obviously, whether the plane crashes or not, or whether turbulence is gonna get you, okay, this is all in your mind until something bad really happens, okay? So, for the most of the flights that take off daily around the world, they take off, land very safe. But of course, those feelings that you might have inside you where it's very fearful, okay, it seems real to you. So if you can distract yourself by watching uh, a good movie, okay, something on your phone to keep yourself distracted, that will also take the focus away from the airplane itself and refocus on something else. And certainly, even without doing those things, you can do mental exercises. So back when I had the panic attack on that baby moon, basically until I gathered information and did research that the panic attack wasn't going to kill me. Basically, one of the products that I had ordered online was actually a meditation. Uh, it's not a device, it's a meditation system. Basically, there's smooth music playing in the background, and you're visualizing with your eye closed in a very like relaxed state, just walking down the beach or looking up at the sky. And it was just a few different scenarios that this CD, okay, we had CDs back then. I realized after a certain period of time that the visualization exercises, I could do it without the CDs. Okay, because it had played over and over again every night as I was using it to relax and, get ready to go to bed and just like take the stress away from the day. Basically, I was able to do those exercises just by closing my eyes. In fact, I can close them now. Okay, I already know the statements of approaching an English cottage and opening the door and going down and focusing on the different rooms of that house and then making it towards the back of the house where you open up a patio door and you see a beautiful English garden full of like butterflies and birds. Okay, I know it sounds silly, okay, but when you're desperate to find help and when you're desperate to relax, these are very helpful. And basically, I was able to use those visualization exercises on the airplanes and still even do them now if I need to. So I don't always go into anxiety when I board airplanes anymore, because I know that I have taken flights and I've landed safely. Okay, the loom and doom and wanting to escape out of that airplane, it's only a passing feeling. And now my other strategy is to say, bring it on. Okay. You're not going to control my life. You're not going to stop me from flying. You're not going to stop me from traveling because I'm going to still live the rest of my life. And certainly my husband knows, okay, all the stages of anxiety and panic and claustrophobia, and like he was there with me when it happened on that airplane when I was very full and pregnant, and just it was so hard to breathe. There was no air circulation. Nate's a very big guy. My husband is not huge, okay, but he's a bigger guy. He's sitting on one side of me. I've got another gentleman to the other side of me who's also bigger, and I'm squished, and I've got this big baby bump, and just it felt like the baby was sitting on top of my lungs to begin with. And then we were in Mexico, the doors are all open, it's hot, humid, it's stuffy in there, and just all of a sudden you just feel like you're gonna die, okay, but you didn't know why. So just it's a very scary feeling, but now that I know that those are feelings in my head, that I'm not going to die. Even if I pass out, okay, my body will know what to do. It will know to breathe on its own. Just having that knowledge was very powerful. Now, if you get to a point where you're doing all these things and it's still not helping, okay, get up and talk to a flight attendant. Flight attendants are trained, okay, to, deal with all sorts of issues and things that the passengers are going through. I mean, that's what I did when I experienced my first panic on an airplane. And basically what the flight attendant told me to do is she gave me a big bag of ice, okay? And she told me to go towards the back of the plane where there's less people, okay? And she sat me down in my own section and she told me to just go ahead and put the ice on whatever part of my face or body that felt hot, and it surely helped. And that's how I knew that the cooling towel was going to be a game changer for me when I got on an airplane. All right, so we've covered focusing on the statistics and facts that flying is very, very safe. We've talked about breathing exercises, visualization exercises, and, if you've done all of that, make sure you're wearing comfortable clothing. The last thing you want to do is be in something tight and uncomfortable and you're just, already squirming to begin with. So just wear comfortable clothing, know where the exits are, pay attention to all of the safety protocols, and just know that you're going to get through it. It's most likely going to take off just fine. It's going to land just fine. Everyone will be safe. And if you are traveling with family, especially little kids, just make sure everyone knows how to use a seatbelt. If someone is going to get hurt, basically, it's going to be during turbulence when you should already be in your seat with the seatbelt fastened anyways. Although it's a very scary feeling, that jolt. Okay, you don't want to have yourself or a child, not have the seatbelt on and bump into the seat in front of you. I could see someone getting hurt that way. But like I said, through my research, it states that airplanes are designed to handle turbulence beautifully, safely, and it's just an annoyance while it's happening until the plane and the flight crew adjust itself. Flying can feel really intimidating, but with the right knowledge and knowing the statistics that flying is very, very safe. Remember, 1 in 11 million, okay? I think those fears can be diminished greatly. Now, if you like this video and found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment, and actually share the video. There's a lot of nervous flyers out there that actually don't share with people that they're nervous. To be honest with you, the only people who know that I get nervous on airplanes and that I have claustrophobic feelings are definitely my husband, my cousin, and now my best friend. Okay, she had no idea that I had a fear of flying, and the funny thing is she did too, and I didn't know, and I've been friends with her for 30 plus years. So you just never know who this video can help. Now, I would like to hear from you. Okay, put in the comments if you also have a fear of flying. Are there any other tips that I should be aware of that wasn't included in this video? Bye for now.